ladies and gents, Montreal is heading into a massive weekend.
Formula One arrives just as the Canadiens move on in the playoffs.
Two major events, one city, and only so much attention to go around, Gary.
And only so much public transit as well. So, the Canadian Grand Prix set for this weekend. The Montreal Canadiens advance to face the Carolina Hurricanes. Two major sporting forces competing for attention here in Montreal. Wow. I mean, what more could you ask for from a sports point of view? And what does it all mean? Well, City Resources split between global F1 event and playoff momentum. Local versus global identity. F1 equals the international spotlight. The Canadiens equal the emotional core of the city. And man, oh man, that was evident the other night when they popped in that goal in overtime. Yeah.
Big time, Gary.
The logistical pressure, crowds, security, transit, and tourism overlap, and organizers are balancing two major draws. So why does this all matter? Well, Montreal becomes a rare case of overlapping global and local mega events, and it highlights how cities manage identity, infrastructure, and attention. Wow, Eddie, the hockey game's Saturday night, right?
Well, the Carolina, they're in Carolina for their game one tomorrow night, as a matter of fact, Gary,
okay, all right.
You know what? Yeah, it's tomorrow night, but you know what, Gary? I have to ask you a question. Is this a great time to be living in Montreal? Seriously?
Just the vibe.
The vibe it's just incredible. I mean, we're in the middle of May, and there was already a huge buzz in this city weeks ago. I mean, look, first of all, spring is upon us for sure. The weather is getting warmer. We're seeing the food trucks out there more and more. Restaurants are putting up their terraces. Restaurants and bars are putting up their street terraces. We have festival season coming upon us the entire summer. We've got the Jazz Fest. We've got the Just for Laughs Comedy Fest. We've got street fairs coming up. And Gary, you're absolutely right bringing up the F1. This year, the unofficial start this summer is earlier. Typically, we have the F1 race in the middle of June. This year, it's actually the first weekend after Victoria weekend. This has a lot to do with the scheduling. Venues that were supposed to typically host the World Cup, the Formula One races in the Middle East have bowed out. So they actually moved the schedule earlier up for logistics reasons, which would make perfect sense. So the Canadian F1 race is being held this weekend, Gary. And we talked a couple of days earlier on, and you were saying how the people, there seems to be pep in their step when they're walking. Just so much going on in terms of sports and activity and upcoming activity in the city. I mean, you walk around the area we live in, and you walk towards old Montreal, or where downtown Montreal is. Gary, you can't walk anywhere in Montreal without a Canadian flag being hung outdoors, or a checkered flag being hung somewhere. And on top of all of this, we've got the World Cup coming up in 3 or 4 weeks. So, we have a lot of, Montreal's a tourist hotspot and tourist mecca at the best of times. Even at the worst of times, there's always tourism here. How the hell does the city of Montreal contend with this volume of traffic and tourism? We've got the Formula One this upcoming weekend, plus we have Hockey Mania, the Montreal Canadiens in the Final Four, Gary. And A, everyone is speaking about the Canadiens. B, anybody wearing a Canadiens jersey, or me in my morning walks wearing my Canadian hat, people are pointing at me, thumbs up. Everyone seems to be in a fantastic mood. You know what? And that's great for the city, okay? Where we are today, and festival season coming up and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end of the day, Gary, the strain on our public transit systems, the strain on hotels. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure the hotels are happy as pigs and shit that the rooms are being booked up at record rates. That's really, really good to see. How does their infrastructure hold up to all of this? I mean, recently we opened up a new segment of our rapid transit system, the RAM line, and of course with anything that you open up brand new, you got the growing pains with that. I mean, the thing just went down again this week for a few hours. So, yeah, you know what? I think people who come to Montreal have learned to embrace Montreal for all its charm, of course, and its culture, but you also come to embrace Montreal and understand what they can expect from here. Traffic. The traffic is horrendous through downtown core. This
Construction.
is where oh my God, yeah, the construction, the ongoing traffic, the accommodation and construction of bike lanes over the last 2 years, putting 3-lane roads to just one road thoroughfares. So I think people who come to Montreal often already know what to expect. And I think people who come to Montreal for the first time say, wow, what the hell is this? We're going to have to walk. Montreal and downtown Old Montreal is very walkable. You don't need a car here. And people learn that very quickly. So, whatever you're hearing about Montreal, the traffic was horrible. Yes, it actually is a horrible when you're trying to get to different parts of the city by car. But from a public transit perspective, it's pretty good. I mean, yeah, from time to time it does break down like anything else, but it's actually very good. I have a car. It stays in the garage. I'm walking, I'm taking public transit no matter where I need to go. Even on the other north end part of the city, I'll take the metro. So yeah, Gary, I think yeah, traffic aside, this is a wonderful time to be in Montreal. The official start of summer, the F1 race this weekend. We talked about it last year, I believe, in quite a bit of detail. We are very fortunate not to lose the Grand Prix. There was discussion in 2024 in
Right.
taking
Yeah.
Montreal off the calendar. And that was because of exactly what we talked about, the horrendous traffic, getting people to and from the venue quickly, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve on Saint-Hélène. The poor state of the facilities at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, old, antiquated. The driver paddocks were leaking. The course itself was in disrepair. Not enough money was put into it. So there were other venues out in Asia, or other countries and cities out in Asia and in the Middle East with promising top-notch facilities, promising excellent venues for the racers, excellent venues for tourists, and also to boot, Montreal, in terms of rights to the Formula One race calendar and put themselves on the calendar. Out of all the venues worldwide on the Formula One calendar, Montreal pays the least. So these Middle East and Asian countries are willing to pay a lot more money for the race. So who comes in to bail everybody out? The local and federal governments came in with very importantly local business interests to make the necessary repairs. So last year they signed a contract which I believe goes on for the next 10 years. So as long as we maintain the circuit, keep the circuit running fine, there shouldn't be a problem extending that beyond the 2035 season. So they got all that out of the way, and what's going to be a fantastic weekend for racing. Of course, the Canadian snowbirds are going to be performing for the last time here in Montreal with their aerial display for the Formula One race. It should be a spectacular weekend. My wife and I are looking forward to our annual walk from where we live down to Old Montreal and just soak in all the vibes, the
Right.
people, the performances, watching people watch the sports cars and hobnob with some of the billionaires that obviously are going to be walking around the clubs and the hotels. So it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, Gary.
I know last Friday we went up to St. Catherine Street and did some shopping. And you could just feel the weekend building on a Friday afternoon. It was a nice day. And we stopped at a Starbucks, and it was in a hotel lobby. And I was just blown away by the number of Ubers and cabs stopping in front of that hotel while we were having our coffee. And families, minimum of four, the parents and two kids, minimum. Larger families, sometimes two Uber loads of families coming in. Now, some of them may have been lucky enough to get tickets, or they were hoping to get tickets for the Canadiens game. I don't know. But, and you saw a lot of Canadian sweaters walking around, on Friday as well. And it's just, it really was magical in a lot of ways. And then look at the other night. We're watching, you're home, I'm home here, watching the hockey game on TV, and the Bell Center is full, and the outside area full, and all of a sudden, there's this roar from up the street at the Bell Center. And I jumped up and kind of looked out the window, and then I could see people on the balconies across the street coming out and hollering and going on. And I turned around to the TV, and because I was watching it on stream, it was about 8 seconds or so behind what had actually happened. So I knew when I heard the roar of the crowd come up from up the street at the Bell Center that they had popped the winning goal in, and sure enough. And to hear the excitement of the people driving around, and, there was some horn honking and everything, and some fireworks going off, and man, oh man, but it was just so magical. Yeah. Like, it just can't say enough. So, just a fun event.
And for our viewers, and you know what, and for our viewers as well, just to give you an idea of how loud this was, and I heard the same thing Gary did. Our neighborhood's about a 10 to 12-minute walk to the Bell Center, okay?
Right.
So it's a 10 to 15-minute hike up there. It's just to give you an idea of how loud it got outside the Bell Center. And then Gary was absolutely right. I was hearing my neighbors on the balconies are, yelling and cheering. Cars started honking their horns, some with the flags outside the Montreal Canadiens flags outside their cars. And I don't know if you've seen it, Gary, but one of the colleges or one of the universities in Montreal, they have seismic recorders that monitor seismic activity in and around Montreal.
Right. Yeah.
At the time that the goal was scored, they actually registered a 0.5 increase in seismic activity in the city of Montreal right around that time. And I actually saw the graphical representation, and a professor at McGill University who works on this confirmed that there was a 0.5 spike on the Richter scale of seismic activity when the Canadiens won in overtime. The Heart Attack Kids won in overtime.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, it was quite a game, quite a series, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this next series goes.
Yeah. You know what, Gary? I know at the onset of the playoffs, you had asked me a typical question that a host will ask his co-host. So, Eddie, who do you think is going to win the Stanley Cup? And at that time, and a subsequent show that we had, on both occasions, I mentioned the Carolina Hurricanes were going to win the Cup. Well, you know what, Gary? One can change his mind. And do I think the Montreal Canadiens have the best hockey team now of the Final Four? Probably not. But as I mentioned before, these are the Heart Attack Kids, the Canadiens. They don't give up. They didn't give up the entire season. And as you rightly see, they don't give up during the playoffs, even when they are out-muscled and out-beaten to the puck. They find a way to win. And, against the Buffalo Sabres, game 7. I swear, if Alex Newhook scoring, if the Montreal mayoral campaign was now, I guarantee you the people of Montreal would elect him as Montreal's mayor. I mean, what a story with this young man. And as I
Right.
mentioned, the Canadiens are going to be meeting the Carolina Hurricanes tomorrow for the Eastern Final, and the Western Conference is going to be between the Las Vegas Knights and the Colorado Avalanche. Now, prediction: anything can happen. All right, when you're looking at the Final Four. So the Colorado Avalanche, I don't know if you knew or not, they won the President's Trophy this year, meaning they were the top team in the regular season heading into the playoffs. Do you know how many teams when was the last time a team that won the President's Trophy actually won the Stanley Cup, Gary? Any idea?
No, I don't. No,
The
not a
last
clue.
time the winner of the President's Cup that won the Stanley Cup were the Chicago Blackhawks in 2013.
Wow.
So finishing at the top of the heap, according to if you're a statistician and you work numbers, the chances are unlikely that the Colorado Avalanche, who won the President's Cup this year, will win the Stanley Cup. But you never know. Okay, it might be a fluke this year. So every team has got a chance. The Montreal Canadiens have got a chance, and you know who this young bunch remind me of, Gary? The 1993 Canadiens. Why?
Okay.
Think about it. This year, goaltender Dobesh of the Montreal Canadiens is shining like a rock star. He's absolutely fabulous and fantastic. All right. The goalie is definitely stealing the show and keeping the team in the game. Back in 1993, who stood on his head for the Montreal Canadiens? Patrick Roy. Who stood on their heads during 1986 Stanley Cup run? Patrick Roy. The goalies stole the show back then, last cup win. The goalie is stealing the show this year. Another key element, the key players for the Canadiens this year, the top line, they're not performing. I mean, they're pretty much doing the core four Toronto Maple Leafs act, which is the David Copperfield act. They disappeared during the playoffs. Well, unfortunately for the Canadiens, our top line of Slavkovsky, Caulfield, and Suzuki, trying as they are, they've pretty much been incognito, not really there, contributing in different ways apart from scoring goals. Now imagine this line starts scoring goals, and they've been depending on lines 2, 3, and 4, and the team has depth, and they're doing the job. So I think the Canadiens got a fantastic, fantastic opportunity here to win the Stanley Cup. We're always looking at unsung heroes, right? Our unsung hero this year is Alex Newhook. He scored 7 goals in 2 playoff series so far this year. Claude Lemieux of the 1993 Montreal Canadiens scored 10 goals in the entire playoffs. So just to give you some comparisons that the possibilities are there, like in 1993, the Canadiens didn't have the most talented team, but they won the cup. This year, the Montreal Canadiens has a young bunch of talent that's still going to get better. So I'm seeing a lot of comparisons between both teams. I really can't tell you what my prediction is for who's going to win this. Carolina, a very strong team. Colorado, very strong team. I'm not sure Vegas is going to make it out of the conference final. If the Habs make it past the Carolina Hurricanes, I will go on a limb and say they will beat whoever wins the Western Conference. So really exciting time again for Montrealers. And you know what the beautiful thing is? The people cheering for the Montreal Canadiens, they don't have to be hockey fans. They just seem to be caught up in the moment of
That's
the
right.
sport itself. My wife is not an NHL fan or a fan of hockey, but she understands the importance of Canadian teams playing internationally and the importance of the Montreal Canadiens. And you know what? She's got caught up in the hoopla as well. She's getting very tense on the couch and watching the games with me. So you don't have to be a hockey fan to get caught up in the magic of what's actually going on in Montreal right now, and just a great time to be here, ladies and
Right.
gentlemen. Just love it here.
Which leads me to another couple of points. The first one is, I think I remember someone saying, I think I'll go with the Canadiens winning the cup just because,
Right.
back when. So we'll see. And the other,
What's your take? What's your take? Who do you think is going to take it this year?
oh,
You think
I said
Habs got a
Montreal.
chance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back when you were doing your predictions, I think I said at that time. So
Yeah.
I just said, yeah, I just have this feeling. So anyway, I say they're going to go. Like the adrenaline is flowing. Yes, they were really tired in Game 7 the other night. You could see it
They were.
because they were giving it their all. But I sense a real toughness there as well and a real desire,
Mhm.
and it's coming from the heart. And they know, I think now more than ever, that they have the country behind them. And that's the other point I was going to bring up.
Mhm.
The number of views of the segment we broke out from last week on the playoffs, and the comments coming from across the country that, oh yeah, I've been there was one, if I remember correctly, I've been a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, but I'm
Yeah.
behind the
Oh,
Habs
Habs
all the
go.
way. Yeah,
Yeah.
so all kinds of comments like that. There was a lot of love in the comments for the Canadiens,
Certainly.
and we had asked the question, have the Canadiens become Canada's team? Damn straight they have, for sure. So,
Based on what we've seen, yeah. Yeah.
yep, absolutely. So the thing is, it's a busy weekend here in Montreal, and if you're getting ready to fly in or drive up from the Maritimes, have a safe trip and be prepared for a lot of lineups. And don't let the lineups get to you, because they do move, at a fairly decent rate when you consider the number of
Yeah.
people. And don't be surprised, because in these lineups and these kinds of things, there's like a whole chorus line can just break out, and a lot of singing or dancing or both. And you'll see videos on Instagram and other social media platforms of that happening on the metro or in the metro station while waiting for the train. So don't be surprised. Just wade into it and embrace it and have fun, have a great time, and be safe. Now,
Yeah.
Eddie, what is our takeaway?
Well, first takeaway, Gary, before I get to the official takeaway, I'm hopeful that you are going to experience it for the first time, I believe, and I'm going to experience it for my seventh time. So you first time, me seventh time, Montreal Canadiens Stanley Cup Parade.
Right. You're right.
That's takeaway
I've
number
never
one.
experienced one in person.
Yeah, this will be my number 7. Takeaway. Montreal isn't choosing between global prestige and local passion. It's trying to carry both at once.